have to be honest with you guys, as I just watched the Denver Nuggets get bulldozed in every facet of the game by the Phoenix Suns. Like, Nikola Jokic is getting his numbers, be clear, but like DeAndre Ayton ain't backing down. Like, it's a close matchup. Again, I would say Joker's getting the best of them after that 30, 20, and 10 game in game 3, but they still lost. Like, Ayton's still holding his own. And what Booker and Chris Paul have been able to do on the perimeter, I mean, I hate that the Nuggets don't have Jamal Murray, but if you're expecting me to think that Murray would have changed things to the point where Denver would be leading this series right now, I don't think that. It'd probably be like 2-1, but that's it. I'm looking at this series, and I have to be honest with you guys. The one guy that can't get off my mind, yes, there's a man on my mind, and his name is Damian Lillard. And I'm thinking about the Portland Trailblazers in the first round. Like, if the Nuggets are getting dominated by the Phoenix Suns, what is Dame thinking right now? Now, to be fair, I do believe the Portland Trailblazers would have matched up better with Chris Paul and the Suns. Like, let's just say those two teams would have faced off in the first round and Chris Paul has that stinger injury. I do believe Dame and company would have did what LeBron James and the Lakers were unable to do. I think they would have beat the Suns if Chris Paul is in and out of the lineup. I believe that. Because you got to have guards to take on Phoenix. You cannot just let Book and CP3 rest on defense. You cannot do that. We're seeing that right now. That's why I think Utah and Phoenix is going to be an incredible series if we get it. So, if I'm Damian Lillard today, and I see that my team, I mean, they got the 6, but be clear, the Denver Nuggets controlled that series against the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, it took an incredible 55 points from Dame. You go to a couple OTs in one of those games. It was a game 5 that Portland lost, but that game looks a lot closer than what it was. It's a very far distant 6-game series between Phoenix and Denver. Denver controlled that series. You look up, if you're Damian Lillard, it's like, yo, giving my all to Portland, came out of Weber State and made my way right to Oregon, and this team has embraced me, this city has embraced me, and I've embraced them. But what's missing from my brand? And right now, I believe Damian Lillard is missing the very casual NBA fan, the fan that only watches the NBA Finals, right? And you get that fan from playing in the NBA Finals, like a Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, like a Kyrie Irving when he was in Cleveland. Right now, the Portland Trailblazers seem to have capped out. A few years ago, when they were able to get to the conference finals against the Golden State Warriors, who didn't have KD for that series, and the Blazers couldn't win a game, seemingly that was their cap. That might have been the best that team could do together. And if that's the case, what does Portland do? What does Dame do? A lot of questions in Portland. Well, first off, for me, it's what does Damian Lillard think about this roster? Specifically, a close friend of his backcourt mate, CJ McCollum. If Dame loves CJ, obviously with the money you pay him, which is not a bad price point for what McCollum produces for that team, but it definitely does make it difficult to go add more pieces. If Dame still loves CJ, then Portland pretty much can't do anything of significance. You're pretty much bringing that roster back. You're going to try to trade Yusuf Nurkic, maybe? I mean, he's been injury prone. He's kind of washed goods at this point. Nurkic can still get you 16 and 8, whatever. But is he changing your franchise? No. Is he the big that you need on both ends of the court? No. So if Dame loves CJ and doesn't want to move off of CJ, then what? I don't know. You would think Dame needs a bigger guard next to him. But if him and CJ's friendship is that strong, trust me, Portland would rather continue to pay CJ, keep him in town, an all-star caliber guy, next to Dame, who's a first, he's going to be on the all-star every year, pretty much, for the next few years. It's like, yo, I don't know what you're doing, Portland. If you're Damian Lillard, Look, you can't get the talent that you want to come to Portland. You barely got Carmelo Anthony. It took Melo not having any other options to say, "Yo, I guess I'll do this Portland thing." Like, nobody even wanted Melo, and he was like, I guess I'll go to Portland and play the rest of my career. Like, nobody wants to go to Portland. Dame goes out and says, "Yo, I want Jason Kidd as my head coach." And this is one of the wildest things I've ever seen in my life. Damian Lillard says, "I want Jason Kidd as my coach." Before we even get to the offseason, Jason Kidd says, I'm going to take myself out of the running as Portland Trailblazers head coach. That's an awkward situation. I don't want to do that. He's an assistant for the Lakers currently. Most assistant coaches can't wait to get under somebody else's tutelage, somebody else's leadership, and go do their own thing, especially a guy like Jason Kidd, Hall of Famer, especially a guy like J. Kidd, who's had his own team a couple times and felt like he's been in situations that got good as soon as he left. And then the Lakers weren't that great this year, and injuries obviously played a part in that. You'd think J. Kidd would relish at the opportunity to get back in the head coaching ranks versus being under Frank Vogel as an assistant with the Los Angeles Lakers. But not right now. It looks like J. Kidd's like, nah, I'll pass. Maybe he's got another job on the table. Maybe he wants to wait a couple years. He did have some serious charges his way. I don't know. But if I'm Dame, it's like, yo, I go out, reach out to a coach, and even the coach doesn't want to come to Portland. I see people out there saying the Los Angeles Lakers should go get the Lakers are not getting Dame. I love my Lakers. We're not getting Damian Lillard. Stop it. Stop it. But I do think this will be an interesting offseason, as right now, the Portland Trailblazers, they need to do something of significance. Going out and signing an Enes Kanter, that ain't enough, bro. Going out and getting a Robert Covington, not enough. You need a significant change. Either you need to go get a big guard or you need to go get an athletic big that can make an impact on both ends of the court. There needs to be a culture shift in Portland. They are awful defensively. Pretty much anybody in the league can light them up. Whether you're a great guard, and I love Dame, but he ain't known for his defense. Whether you're a great forward, you can light up Portland. You're a great big. You can have your way. You seen Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets do that last round. And now what? It's got to be some interesting times to be in Portland. Because you know Dame's not happy about losing. He's the loyalty guy. I don't think he's going to demand a trade next year. But I do think maybe 2 years from now, yes. Like not this season coming up, but the following season, I do believe Dame will say, what are we doing? I know I signed an extension here. I need some help, like really bad. I think next year will be the start. I think we'll finally hear rumblings, whether it's through his agency, whatever, his management. I think next year will be the first year in Dame's career where we hear rumblings of him being unhappy. Maybe it's through his play, which I doubt because he really don't. He's an emotionless guy on the court. But maybe, whether it's just through his body language, we know he's got a good relationship with Chris Haynes at Yahoo. If you see Chris Haynes just reporting stuff about Dame all year, it ain't good. Because Chris Haynes and Dame are good friends. And the more leaks, the worse. If you're in Portland or if you're a Portland Trailblazer fan, I think next year will be the start. We'll hear rumblings, and it will lead us right into that offseason, especially if the Blazers get bounced in the first round again next year, because you know they're good enough to make the playoffs and win against any team in the league, by the way, on any given night. But they can't beat you 4 times right now consistently. 4 out of the last 5 years, first round exit. The 1 year that you do get past the first round, you get to the conference finals, and you can't beat the Golden State Warriors without Kevin Durant there. You didn't get him 1 game. And you led all those games in the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Something crazy like that. Yeah, if you're the year that the Blazers got to the conference finals and lost to Golden State, remember, was the same year that they beat the Nuggets in a great series in 7 games. Look up now. A few years later, they didn't get to 7 with the Nuggets. They didn't win the series, obviously. And they lost to the Nuggets, who now got the MVP of the league without Will Barton or Jamal Murray. Like, what do you do with that? Michael Porter Jr. is only getting better. Like, if you couldn't beat them this year, I mean, what? You know you don't want no smoke with Utah, Phoenix right now. If you couldn't beat Denver this year, you got problems going forward if you're Damian Lillard.